taking over. Let's go. It's Ferrall. Coast to coast. Steaks, chicks, stacks. You and I are going to make a lot of money. It's Ferrall, coast to coast.
Make sure you get the SportsGrid app on iOS or Android in the Play Store. It's free. You're going to love it. You can watch the network on there, listen to the network on there. It's got the TV side, the radio side. Follow your favorite hosts. You can get in-game odds, stories, highlights, videos, everything. It's all on the SportsGrid app. It's smarter to be on SportsGrid. Hey, did you know we're streaming on X? That's right. Just go to SportsGrid-Live and you can watch us streaming right on X. Get the Ferrall Coast to Coast and Ferrall on a Bench podcasts every day, Monday through Friday on iTunes. All the shows are there. Go get them. You'll dig it. Also, I wanted to give you an idea of what's happening later on SportsGrid. Of course, after us at 6 p.m., you got Game Time Decisions tonight with the mayor of Miami, Joe Ranieri, and then in-game live with Opposite Picks, Scott Wetzel, my boy, and Dave Sherapan, the sports book consigliere, from 8 to 10, and then 10 to midnight, you've got Sports Rage with Gabe Morency. On the radio side, Carver and Lisi dominating from 8 o'clock on tonight, owning the airwaves. All on SportsGrid Radio, all on SportsGrid TV tonight on a Friday. All right, I wanted to mention one other thing to you, Mike. I was just watching the transition from the Golf Channel to CBS for the Farmers Insurance at Torrey Pines, and they were doing overhead shots at how magnificent and beautiful Torrey Pines is. By the way, they'll have the Genesis there. They've moved it from L.A. to Torrey Pines in a couple of weeks where we thought it would go. But the funny thing is for me is yesterday, the fact that they canceled that round of golf in that wind, and then today there's not one lick of wind. It is literally, the flags are just absolutely hanging. Literally, there's not any wind at all. And I'm glad they're happy that they got their way, these wussies. Honestly, like the PGA Tour, I have never seen a decision so awful in my life in golf than to cancel that round of golf in the heavy wind. You know what? I have never in my life once seen them cancel a Open Championship in Scotland because it's too windy. I've never seen it in my life. I have seen them play with rain pelting players in the face, literally stinging them with sideways blowing rain and wind. And they are wearing literally parkas playing golf. And they are soaking wet. They have towels, and the caddies are just getting gushed. And in the United States, in California, the wind's blowing and they canceled a round and everybody goes out for steaks with their hot wives. Like, you have got to be kidding me. I will never forget yesterday, as long as I live, that I watched a bunch of wussy prima donna golfers walk off a golf course because it was too windy. Now, I don't know one friend of mine in my life that would ever pay to play at Torrey Pines, the money that you pay to play there. I played there 25 times. There's no way you're getting me off of there if it's windy. And I paid that greens fee. Are you kidding me? That was the wussiest thing I've ever seen, Mike. You will never change my opinion of it either.
Well, I'm not going to change your opinion. I thought it was an awful call, but maybe who we're going after here. I don't think that the players were telling the people that run the golf tournament, we're getting off the course. Because when the guy went out there with the horn yesterday, the players looked genuinely confused. Guys were looking at him
what are you doing?
What's going on? And they kept standing there, and the guy literally was like, no, get in the vans. You're going back to the clubhouse. Like that. This was a really poor decision by the PGA and the people that run the Farmers. They should have never stopped that tournament. I believe it was about an hour and a half they were delayed. They went back out last night. They didn't finish the second round. The guys had to go back out this morning and finish the second round because they obviously ran out of light. And then today there's not a stitch. So I thought it was a bad job by those. I don't think the players were asking out from those conditions yesterday. And I'm with you. The players, they complain about a lot of things. I don't think it was their fault. And as far as the, similarities with the British Open and the Open Championship, The RNA doesn't care. They run all that stuff. They will let these guys suffer. Do you remember when Xander won this past year? And, like, Billy Horschel's out there with the water basically flowing off the brim of his hat and all. Justin Rose had his hat backwards and the water seeping off of it. They just don't care. They made a poor decision yesterday, and I'll tell you who else is going to have a bad weekend. Now, this is the reason they also do this is CBS's first event of the golf season. They have the Farmers as their first one, which means Jim, because Jim loves the golf, and he loves going to Torrey Pines before the AFC title game. Here's the bad news for Jim, though, this weekend, Scotty. He thinks he's usually going to get Xander Schauffele, Scotty Scheffler, Rory McIlroy. He's got Andrew Novak, Joel Damon, Harry English, your boy Springer, Chris Goddard up and get him down, Castillo, Griffin, Walker. That's who Jim Nantz has today and tomorrow at the top of the leaderboard at Torrey Pines that he's going to have to deal with. There's going to be a wild finish there tomorrow. There's a ton of guys within one shot. You might not have ever heard of any of them except Joel Damon. There's a ton of guys that have got a chance to win that golf tournament. All right, let's get the NBA going for you now. A couple of performances from last night that we have to highlight. Nuggets beat the Kings, 132-123. How sick is this guy, Joker? 5th straight triple-double. Historic one, 35, 22, and 17. He joins Wilt Chamberlain as the only players in NBA history to record a game with 35, 20, and 15 plus. He was having such a good night, Scotty. He was hitting from everywhere on Altitude Network.
Cheated way in.
Jokic going to throw it up from way. He got it! Oh my! Nikola Jokic! All the way from Sombor!
I mean, he literally shot it full court. It was an inbounds pass, and he shot it literally full court, and it went Drano. And I'll tell you what, the funny thing is about this guy that really is frustrating for me is that it's pretty obvious he doesn't care about playing basketball. I mean, he has no joy in it whatsoever. He doesn't react to anything. He doesn't celebrate anything. He doesn't get excited. He doesn't high five. I mean, you can barely get the guy to smile. Like, he just isn't into it. I mean, okay, listen, I think he's a magnificent player. He's unstoppable. But if you're that miserable, then go back to Serbia and get in the horse racing business. If that's what you want, go do it. Because if you're so miserable playing here, then leave. I mean, honestly, like, I have never seen a guy that good, that miserable or bored playing basketball in my life. Like, you couldn't get him excited if they brought strippers out on the floor. I mean, honestly. Have you ever seen anything like it? Like, he doesn't care about playing basketball. Like, he breaks all these records, all these triple doubles, all these all-star games. He doesn't want to do any of it. He's like, I mean, getting that guy, I bet they have to literally pry him to the all-star weekend. Like, he doesn't want to go. He just doesn't care about the NBA. Like, it's amazing. I've never seen a guy that good not care. He has zero self-gratulations. I mean, the guy, there's no narcissism there. He doesn't care about anything. Like, he doesn't even care that he's great. He doesn't care.
Here he is. He's feeling very locked in right now. There you go. Thank you, Luke. It's just not enough time. There's never enough time. We'll hear from Joker when we come back, and then I've got a few other things, including Giannis as well after that win last night for the Bucks. Talking about something that you talk about all the time, and Giannis spills the beans on a well-kept secret. We will talk about that.
All right, let's see what it is.
So my team didn't win this weekend, but I still did with this app that's taking over the game. Sports Millions Pick'em lets you make quick and easy predictions. Pick your favorite players, go higher or lower, and you can still win big even if your team loses. Plus, the multiplier is insane. With just a few picks, you can win big money. So get on it. They've got a welcome bonus to help you start off your winning streak.
they have a lot of hopes, and they thought last year they were turning the corner. Even early this year, they start turning the corner, and then you lose 13 games in a row.
Edmonton chipped away, got a late goal, won the game 4-3. I felt like they dominated the third period. They moved the puck on that power play. It was an exceptional hockey game. It went over the total.
Only on SportsGrid.
The two guys that can do it all.
Too much electricity this morning.
This is a good time. We're having a lot of fun.
I had to do a triple take.
Ka-ching!
Why? Because of parity.
I didn't mean to offend.
Yeah, it's not going to happen.
Load management is a dirty word.
Let him rip.
You know what? Circumstances provide the results. What? How do you do this once? Oh, Donnie, you've got such a good show there.
A network that is booming.
The Early Line. Only on SportsGrid.
There is going to be an energy to game time decisions that you will feel night in and night out. We're going to go through every single thing, and I've got a great team behind me that's going to help me get the job done. I want this to be the place that people come to. We are going to hit every single one of those markets that you need to know about. There is not going to be a better place, I promise you, than Game Time Decisions. We will have everything at our disposal, and we will use that to our advantage. I'm Kevin Walsh. Tune into Game Time Decisions from 6 to 8 p.m. Eastern on SportsGrid.
Your gut says Miami is going to win, and you should take the over. Your gut also said your NFT selfies would only go up in value. They didn't. But your head is on SportsGrid and knows the QB is in concussion protocol. The backup has a 45 QBR against the zone coverage. The New York D has the most sacks in the league. So yeah, trust your head. It's smarter to be on SportsGrid.
All right, so what is the Joker? He's actually talking about something about basketball? That's crazy.
Yeah, Joker actually was talking about how locked in he feels right now and how he just got a fresh, clean jacket from the store. So here's Joker.
I think I said it. I think this is the best basketball of my life that I've ever played. So I'm feeling good out there. I'm in a shape. The ball is going in. I'm feeling good. I think I can influence the game on different levels. So I think I'm playing really good right now.
I'm just glad he actually puts a coat on at the podium. Remember, he used to just show up in like the tank top, the white tank top, and he'd have at least he gets himself cleans up after the game before the podium. He goes up there and he's got his nice jacket on and he's looking good. Your boy Joe.
Listen, I play with this guy. I told you I play with this Ukrainian dude, my guy, Volva. He's a great player, pro player from Ukraine. And he's here because of the war. And I play with him every morning. And he's he's a lot like Joker in the language. Like he's completely Ukrainian, so he can barely speak English. And he talks a lot like Joker does. So when I talk to him every day when I play with him, and it's hard for me to understand him, and it's hard for him to understand me. And it's the craziest thing, but he sounds a lot like the Joker when he talks. He's got that same Serbian, Ukrainian accent. And I believe me, Joker speaks a lot better than him, but this guy can flat out ball, man. My man is a baller. He plays pro over there. He means business. This dude is a white boy that can climb the tree and finish. I mean, I never seen anything like this white boy play. Honestly, this guy's Larry Bird.
Lakers beat the Celtics 117-96. AD had 24, 8, and 3 blocks. LeBron with 20, 14, and 6. Reeves with 23, 6. He had 4 threes in the mix with all of that. Jared Vanderbilt of the Lakers has been medically cleared. He'll make his season debut tomorrow night. Jared Vanderbilt will make his season debut
Gloria
tomorrow
Vanderbilt
night against the Warriors. The Bucks beat the Heat 125-96. A couple things quickly for you. Of course, the Heat didn't have Butler. Heat were all right for a half, And then they got all out of sorts at the end of the first half. They couldn't inbound the ball. They couldn't do anything. Dame time. Here we go, TNT.
So the Bucks a chance here to add some more. Damian Lillard in the corner. It's good! Dame time at the end of the half.
Yeah, listen, I'm going to just say it now. I think that Jimmy Butler has spread his cancer all over the Heat, and he has ruined their season. I do believe they'll never recover from this disastrous guy that is, purged on them. I mean, he's ruined them. Like, they don't matter anymore at all. Like, I watched them play last night. They suck.
It has trickled down to the other players, and I do kind of feel bad for some of them. You got, like, Tyler Hero is a great player, but, like, the last thing he wants to do before these games, and they showed him in the morning shoot-around, like, all he did was spend 4.5 minutes, 5 minutes answering questions about, Jimmy not being there. And Tyler's like, what am I going to do? It's just like, you got a job.
Right.
Someone doesn't show up to work. You still got to do your job. You still got to go and do it. So it's like, it's draining on probably everybody. Spoelstra, the other players. It's just too much. Get rid of him. Enough. All right, here we go, Giannis. So I'm sure that Bill talked to you about this. The Bucks had a travel situation, right? They had to stay in New Orleans because of the storm. They had to fly yesterday, the day of the game, blah, 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 blah. You say it all the time. I don't want to hear it from these guys. They fly in these private planes. They got everything catered to them. But what's the big deal if they got a little travel adversity? Well, guess who agrees with you, Scotty? Giannis. Here we go.
At the end of the day, we still woke up in a 5-star hotel.
Right.
Had breakfast. Sit down as a team, talk as a team while we were waiting for the bus. We had a pretty nice bus ride. Then we went to our plane, chartered plane, private plane. Everybody has their own seat. You can order some food in the plane, get some fruits if you want. They have drinks too. After that, your cars are, warm, right in front of the plane, waiting for you. You get in your car, and you get to the arena in like 15 minutes. And after that, you do your routine, and you get ready for the game. That, for me, those conditions are not that bad. I've been in the way, way worse conditions in my life. But if you want to call this adversity, I'm very happy and proud of how the team responded. That we were, even though we did all that, we were locked in.
Let me tell you something. So I traveled with NFL and NHL teams, and everything he just said is exactly true. They have private jets. They're chartered jets. They have their own planes. When the bus is like a 5-star bus, like literally, and there's room for, you can bring the cheerleaders with you. Because there's only so many guys on the team. And then when they're football, like when I travel with the Steelers, they got 2 buses because there's more players. And then when you land at home, you go from the private airstrip. You don't go from the main airport. You go from private airports. And then when you get back, they've got all your cars heated up and running. Except when Isaiah Ryder got his tires stolen off of his car in Atlanta. That was the greatest thing I ever saw, when they left 2 of his tires off at a car. But when you land on the road, for instance, like let's say you go to Los Angeles, right? They take the bus from the private airstrip right to the Ritz-Carlton or the Four Seasons. They don't stay at the Holiday Inn. They stay at the Four Seasons and Ritz-Carltons and the Intercontinentals. There is no anything below 5-star. Every room that they're in, the beds, they sell them for $5,000 at the Four Seasons. When you go to bed at the Four Seasons, you fall into the bed, you don't want to get up for 3 days. You want a hooker. I mean, it is so nice. And they eat 5-star meals. Everything is 5-star. They don't lift a finger. These guys have the life of Riley.
second full year under new ownership to really be where they are right now for this Commanders franchise is one of the best stories of this NFL season.
Went to the playoffs and won 2 road games. Now we're going to use that. Hey, rookie quarterback on? No more rookie quarterback. He's already arrived in the NFL as a legitimate quarterback. And can you say, Ben, is he already top 5?
The Early Line. Only on SportsGrid.
He did nothing for 5 weeks. So he's becoming his brother. So I don't want to hear about how great TJ Watt is with his 0 playoff wins. And he's the first guy to admit it. He comes right out and says, I've never won a playoff game. I don't matter. All right, at least we all know who the best player on the team is. It's George Pickens. If you don't believe that, well, then screw you, too.
Ferrall, coast to coast. Only on SportsGrid.
We'll see if they get McCain back. Kelly Oubre, Yabusele's been good. Caleb Martin's a defensive specialist. Andre Drummond can still give you, almost a double-double at any point. I can't go south on this team. And now you're giving it to me at 2-1 to make the playoffs? To be in the Final 8? Folks, give me the Philadelphia 76ers to make the playoffs at plus 210.
Betting above the rim. Only on SportsGrid.
We all know MVPs don't win the Super Bowl. It's not about MVPs, man. The only MVP, fine. Win the MVP of the Super Bowl. Nobody cares about the MVP of the regular season besides people that bet on it, the actual player themselves, and their agent that's getting a cut of the bonus money. Other than that, who cares? What do you care who wins the MVP? Like I said, unless you bet on it. Right? If you bet on it, fine. Then I guess you care.
Sports Rage tonight. Only on SportsGrid.
So one last thing on that note. Okay, so I'm with the Thrashers, right? They got this Ted Turner plane that they shared with the Hawks. The Hawks and Thrashers shared the plane. And when we were on the road, they were home. And when they were home, we were on the road. And then that's how it worked. And so the plane had, so how many NBA players are on the team? 12. And then you got the coaching staff and the trainers, right? Hockey, you got your, hockey team and your coaches and trainers. And then they had literally, so the planes are gutted. So what they do is they put in, each seat is literally a recliner. Each seat is it's literally a lazy boy recliner leather seat that turns into a bed. And everyone, including me, the play-by-play guy, I had a bed. And they were all beds. And then they would cover the players in ice from head to toe for an hour to deal with their pain and suffering and bruising and everything else and injuries. And every guy had a bed, like your own bed. There was never once did you have your knees in your chin. When you fly, you sit in a plane in coach or in extra space in coach, and you're still miserable. You are miserable. Those extra space seats are the biggest ripoff in the history of business. I mean, it's 2 inches more than the regular seats. And it's another $100. It's the biggest scam ever. The airlines are the worst. They're the worst business in America, the airlines. And then you sit in these planes, and you're treated like dogs and cats, like cattle. They treat you like cattle. And then they give you their food or these boxes of bullshack. Like, here's your snack box or your bag of peanuts on these NHL and NBA and NFL flights. They're eating filet mignon. And you can have whatever you want. I mean, literally, they got a chef on the plane. He's up there cooking. And you have no idea how spoiled these people are. Like, I've never seen anything like I never stayed in one hotel that wasn't 5-star my entire career with the Steelers or the Thrashers. That's all it is. These guys listening on television, you hear it all the time on ESPN, everywhere else. It doesn't matter what network. Oh, they've been on the road for 7 days. Dude, they're at the pool getting getting a massage at the Four Seasons. My guy's getting his toenails clipped by some chick at the pool and having his feet rubbed. These players don't suffer for 1 second their entire careers. Listening to them complain is like, it's like, you know what it is? It'd be like living in a Saudi prince's mansion with 400 rooms. That's the life of a pro athlete in pro sports today in America. Just so you know, they're living like Saudi kings and princes. Then there's listening to them. Oh, they had to wait an hour because it was snowing. Like, you have no idea, these people, the life they're leading. You have no clue. You are never gonna live like them. Just so you know. Just so you know, they live like top shelf penthouse status only. Nothing else. Listening to them complain is the funniest thing that I've ever seen in my life. They have the life of Riley.
At least Giannis knows that. So Giannis at least knows.
Well, thank God he admitted it.
Good for me. The Blazers win both games in Florida. They beat the Magic 101-79. Franz Wagner did return after missing 20 games. He didn't help much, though. They got smashed by the Blazers in that game. Raptors beat the Hawks 122-119. Mavs beat the Thunder. Dinwiddie had a big night. He had 28. Clippers beat the Wizards 110-93. And Brandon Miller of the Hornets is done for the season. Wrist surgery finished. The number one top-selling jersey in the NBA so far this season. Who do you think it is, Scotty? Who's the number one jersey? Is it a new guy? Somebody who's, SGA? Somebody like that? No.
Tatum.
Steph Curry and LeBron still 1 and 2. Steph Curry, number 1. LeBron, number 2. Jason Tatum, 3. Brunson, 4. Wembanyama, 5. SGA is 11th.
It's unbelievable. And LaMelo Ball's 12th.
12th. We will come back. I'll give you the All-Star starters. And Ball got shafted out of that. He had the most fan votes to start for the East. But because there's also media and player voting that gets mixed in, the media voted him 7th. So he got bumped out of being a starter, even though the fans
they let all those
him
fat media guys vote for basketball. They've never played a game in their life.
Second full year under new ownership to really be where they are right now for this Commanders franchise is one of the best stories of this NFL season.
Went to the playoffs and won 2 road games. Now we're going to use that. Hey, rookie quarterback on? No more rookie quarterback. He's already arrived in the NFL as a legitimate quarterback. And can you say, Ben, is he already top 5?
The Early Line. Only on SportsGrid.
He did nothing for 5 weeks. So he is becoming his brother. So I don't want to hear about how great T.J. Watt is with his 0 playoff wins. And he's the first guy to admit it. He comes right out and says, I've never won a playoff game. I don't matter. All right, at least we all know who the best player on the team is. It's George Pickens. If you don't believe that, well, then screw you, too.
Ferrall, Coast to Coast. Only on SportsGrid.
We'll see if they get McCain back. Kelly Oubre, Yabusele's been good. Caleb Martin's a defensive specialist. Andre Drummond can still give you, almost a double-double at any point. I can't go south on this team. And now you're giving it to me at 2-1 to make the playoffs? To be in the Final 8? Folks, give me the Philadelphia 76ers to make the playoffs at plus 210.
Betting above the rim. Only on SportsGrid.
We all know MVPs don't win the Super Bowl. It's not about MVPs, man. The only MVP, fine. Win the MVP of the Super Bowl. Nobody cares about the MVP of the regular season besides people that bet on it, the actual player themselves, and their agent that's getting a cut of the bonus money. Other than that, who cares? What do you care who wins the MVP? Like I said, unless you bet on it. Right? If you bet on it, fine. Then I guess you care.
Sports Rage tonight. Only on SportsGrid.
isn't golf even worse, Carver High? Like the golfers stay in mansions on the golf course. They like rent mansions, the ones with all the juice and money. And then the other ones stay at resorts like La Quinta or at Pebble Beach. They'll stay at the 5-star resort only, like wherever they go, a PGA West. None of them stay in hotels.
No, like you say, every course is different. Some of these courses have resorts and other things that go with them, whether it's Pebble Beach,
Villas.
but like a place like Augusta, you know, they rent houses, you know, in the area. People put their houses up, Airbnb, all that stuff, and golfers rent them for the whole week. Like you watched on the Full Swing, like Spieth and Thomas, it seemed like, you know, they are always together. Fitzpatrick rents a house with a couple of other guys. Like they all get together. And they rent these houses. So the top echelon does that. Now, the middle guys, the grinders, you know, they're in hotels. Probably, you know, they got to stay in hotels. They're not renting full houses or flying to private planes and
or
doing
they
all
team
that.
up on a big house. They'll have 5 or 6 guys staying in the same house.
There's guys that do that, too. They'll get 5 or 6 together. Maybe there's a week where you're not bringing your whole family. Maybe there's a week, you know, there's different circumstances, I'm sure, for all of these guys.
It's crazy.
Like, Finau, you saw Finau. I mean, if he's bringing his family, he's bringing a lot of people. I mean, Finau got a whole bunch of kids. Like, he needs a house. Like, he ain't getting 5 hotel rooms. You know, your boy Finau needs a house when he goes to places. So, yes, that's what the golf guys do. All right, here we go. These are the starters for the All-Star game. Now, remember something. I don't even know why they do this. Isn't a game like 4, 8, like there's like a bunch of different teams now.
Right.
It's not even a regular game.
It's like pickup.
Giannis, Brunson, Mitchell, Tatum, and Kat from the East. Steph, Durant, SGA, LeBron, and Joker from the West. They are the starters, quote unquote, for the All-Star game.
I mean, honestly, like it's just a popularity contest. I mean, I'm surprised, you know, Kobe's long gone and rest in peace, but I'm surprised he's not a starter. Like, I mean, honestly, like, it's a popularity contest. Where's Michael Jordan in this? Is he starting too? Honestly, like, I don't even think these are the best players. They're great players, but there's guys that are more deserving.
LaMelo Ball is one of 3 players in the top 10 in both points per game and assists per game. He had, like I told you, most fan votes for the guards in the East. But they changed the voting structure a few years ago. Remember how they kept voting? The fans were voting guys in who were either injured or didn't play and things like that. So they came up with a percentage of tiers that involved the players and the media. Ball had the most votes from the fans. Media had him listed 7th among guards in the East. So he lost too much ground there. And that's why Brunson got the spot as a start. Hopefully they will.
Such a baller. It's not even funny. Like, if he's not an all-star, now that he'll get in because of injuries and whatever else. Guys don't even want to go to this thing.
He's going to be a reserve anyway. Like, these are just the star. There's going to be 14 more guys named to this team, 7 on each side. But put the guys, the younger guys want to see. People want to see Ball. People want to see Wembanyama. People they want to see these guys in the game. The young stars of the game. So get those guys all in the mix. All right. Adam Silver says the NBA is still exploring a separate European league. Have fun. Go join. You know what? Go talk with Goodell. You guys could do it together. NFL and NBA Europe.
Go to China.
You go get everybody involved there. There's only 3 games tonight in the NBA. That's unfortunate. Only 3 games on a Friday night, which is very weak. But the Blazers, as I mentioned, they have gotten out to a good start on this trip. They've won 3 in a row overall. They won both games in Florida against the Heat and the Magic. And tonight they're in Charlotte against the Hornets. Hornets minus 5.5. 221.5 is the total.
I mean, they're both playing really well. And I got to give them the edge because they're at home with LaMelo Ball. I think Portland's playing great right now, but so is Charlotte. Give me Charlotte.
The Cavs, of course, are the best in the East, 36-7. They're in Philadelphia tonight against the Sixers. Still no Embiid among others. Minus 10.5 for the Cavs, 228.5 the total.
Yeah, I think the Cavs are going to murder the Sixers. 10.5, have a sandwich. They'll win by 20.
And finally, the Pelicans are in Memphis against the Grizz tonight. Grizz minus 11.5. Jock game time, by the way, for that, just so you know. 243.5 is the total.
Yeah, look, Grizzlies are way better than the Pelicans. This game, that's a fat number, though. I lean Memphis, but I'm scared to death to lay 11.5. The way the Pelicans have been playing, they've been winning, they've been covering, they've been in games every night. So I'm inclined to take the 11.5 piece. I think the Grizzlies win. I'll middle it. I'll take the Grizzlies to win, and I'll take the 11.5 with, this team on the road. I think New Orleans has been showing up.
They have been, and they've been locked away in the ice the last couple of days, right? They're probably happy to get out of town and they can start balling again. They had that game canceled with Milwaukee on Wednesday night. All right, there you go. Very limited slate in the NBA. That means there's tons of games tomorrow. Remember, Pacers-Spurs again in Paris tomorrow afternoon.
It's at noon.
So I know you like noon East games. You will have that. And I believe they start
Rockets,
doing
Cavs tomorrow night at the Rocket in the Land. That's a good game.
Wow, and they just played the other night, right? They played in Houston.
Yeah.
Earlier this week. When did we do that? Tuesday or Wednesday night they played that game?
Cavs return of serve in that one. How about Bucks Clippers tomorrow night at the Intuit in Lipstick City?
Yep. So you got a lot of games, and I guess they start doing, now that football's over, you get the Saturday night national TV game, which, of course, God forbid it, the Lakers and the Warriors.
Oh, of course.
8:30 Saturday night.
Lake show. We got to get the Lakers on TV every night.
Make sure you get the Lakers in there. So there you go. That is your NBA for this evening. All right, college rack. Got a lot to do here. Maryland. How about Maryland beating up Illinois last night? By 21 on the streets. Nice win for them. Memphis beat Wichita State 61-53. There were several other games last night. I got burned on a couple of those late night games. Didn't go well for me, including the Anteaters, who lost outright to that awful. I can't believe the Anteaters lost that game. They forced an overtime, and then they still couldn't even just win.
But honestly, seriously, there were so many. Can I go back at all? Do we have a second?
Go ahead. You got a minute.
Honestly, we bet on a lot of those late night games. Santa Clara hit for us. Northridge hit for us. Riverside burned us. UC San Diego covered for us against the Gauchos. Oregon State covered for us against Pepperdine. I lost San Fran with the Dons. They got whacked by 20. Davis hit over Hawaii. And Ark State hit for us. Northern Arizona hit for us. I'm serious. We put all these games up. One after the next. And it was all night long. Louisiana Tech hit for us against Western Kentucky. It was good. I thought after we got off the air and it got late night and West Coastish, we hit a bunch of bets. We really did. And hockey, don't get me started. I went 10-1, and I hit two money lines. I hit two puck lines. I went 10-1 last night in hockey.
We're going to get to the hockey before we leave. Don't worry. We'll come back. Just a few of we got a few games tonight in college basketball, and then I'm going to let you know the big games this weekend, including, of course, huge games. You got a couple of monster games coming up on Saturday and Sunday that we will discuss. Tennessee, Auburn, the big one Saturday night in the SEC.
At the Neville.
Second full year under new ownership to really be where they are right now for this Commanders franchise is one of the best stories of this NFL season.
Went to the playoffs and won 2 road games. Now we're going to use that. Hey, rookie quarterback on. No more rookie quarterback. He's already arrived in the NFL as a legitimate quarterback. And can you say, Ben, is he already top 5?
The Early Line. Only on SportsGrid.
He did nothing for 5 weeks. So he is becoming his brother. So I don't want to hear about how great TJ Watt is with his 0 playoff wins. And he's the first guy to admit it. He comes right out and says, I've never won a playoff game. I don't matter. All right, at least we all know who the best player on the team is. It's George Pickens. If you don't believe that, well, then screw you, too.
Ferrall, coast to coast. Only on SportsGrid.
We'll see if they get McCain back. Kelly Oubre, Yabusele's been good. Caleb Martin's a defensive specialist. Andre Drummond can still give you, almost a double-double at any point. I can't go south on this team. And now you're giving it to me at 2-1 to make the playoffs? To be in the Final 8? Folks, give me the Philadelphia 76ers to make the playoffs at plus 210.
Betting above the rim. Only on SportsGrid.
We all know MVPs don't win the Super Bowl. It's not about MVPs, man. The only MVP, fine. Win the MVP of the Super Bowl. Nobody cares about the MVP of the regular season besides people that bet on it, the actual player themselves, and their agent that's getting a cut of the bonus money. Other than that, who cares? What do you care who wins the MVP? Like I said, unless you bet on it. Right? If you bet on it, fine. Then I guess you care.
Sports Rage tonight. Only on SportsGrid.
All right, tonight's college rack, and through the weekend, there's some dandies.
There is some dandies. Let's start with the heavy games tonight. And we'll take us first in the Big East. We have Villanova and Marquette on a Friday night. Marquette laying 9.5 at home in this one. Michigan and Purdue, great game in the Big Ten in West Lafayette. Purdue minus 3.5 now. This one is at. Also, St. Bonnie and VCU. Both these teams, 15 wins already this year. Good one in the A-10, but look at the number. VCU 12.5 tonight against the Bonnies. That might be a little too much. Penn State visits Iowa tonight. Iowa minus the 3.5, and UCLA 4.5-point favorites on the streets in Seattle.
Yeah, I think they can win that game in Seattle. Washington doesn't pose any kind of a threat, I don't think. I mean, UCLA, they won the other night at Pauley by a bucket, so maybe they won't cover the number, but they are better than Washington. I like Iowa at Carver Hawkeye tonight against Penn State. VCU will cover that number tonight in Richmond. They're better flat out than St. Bonnie. Purdue lost to Ohio State. Could they, forbid that they would lose 2 in a row at Mackey. They had won 26 in a row at Mackey. I think Purdue beats Michigan tonight. They're not losing 2 in a row in West Lafayette. If they do, I'll keel over. I won't deny that Dusty May's done a great job in Michigan and they got the 2 7-footers, whatever. I'm still with the Boilermakers. Painter at home, too dangerous. And I got to tell you, if Xavier can win at the 5 serve against Marquette and beat them by a bucket, then give me 9.5 in Villanova tonight against Marquette. I don't deny that Marquette's good, but I just saw them lose at home. So you're giving me 9.5 with a team that's been playing good ball lately in Villanova, right? I think that game tonight is better than 9.5. I just think it's a better game than that. I'm hoping that Nova covers the wood.
There you go, Friday night. All right, listen to some of this action over the weekend. Here's Saturday. Mississippi State at South Carolina. Michigan State is at Rutgers. Iowa State at Arizona State. Kentucky Vandy. Texas and Texas A&M in Austin. Georgia and Florida. Oregon, Minnesota. Duke visits Wake Forest. Good one. Ole Miss at Mizzou. West Virginia at Kansas State. Heavy hitter game here. Houston at Kansas. 6:30 East tip at Fog Allen. UConn and Xavier getting together. And the big one of the day, Tennessee visiting Auburn. 8:30 East tip Saturday night. both teams with 17 wins. LSU visiting Alabama as well on Saturday night.
Yeah, listen, Alabama will crush them. I like Auburn at the Neville. I like Xavier at the Cintas over UConn. Kansas will win at Fog Allen. I think Missouri wins in Columbia. I think Wake is a live dog getting 9.5 in Winston-Salem. Give me the 9.5. I think Vandy's a live dog at 3.5 in Smashville against Kentucky. I think Florida will win over Georgia. Iowa State will win. That's a lot of points at Tempe. I think Arizona State covers 10.5 in a tough game against Iowa State. Iowa State's better, without a doubt. This is a chance for Bobby Hurley's team for sure. And how about a Rutgers upset at the rack over Michigan State tomorrow? And I think, South Carolina just lost by 1 at home against a heavyweight. Give me the 6.5 with the Gamecocks against the Bulldogs tomorrow.
Yeah, really good Saturday of college rack. Sunday's okay. Nebraska, Wisconsin, Northwestern Illinois, not as good as Saturday. Saturday's where all the heavy hitter action.
Illinois has to get right on Sunday in Champaign.
Yes.
They've lost 3 of 4. They'll take it out on Northwestern at home.
Yes, they will. All right, hockey.
Everybody loves hockey.
You were right. Very good night. I know we both were on the Bruins. They beat the Sens 2-0 at home. That was a silly price, and they got it done. You had the Wings over the Habs 4-2. Rangers beat the Flyers last night. Wild game. The Canes beat Columbus. Vegas beat the Blues. Utah beat Minnesota.
That was the
Flames
loss.
beat Buffalo.
Cover.
Yes. The Oilers smashed Vancouver 6-2 in that game. You said that the Penguins, after winning in L.A., would lay an egg at the Duck Pond, and they sure enough did. They lost 5-1 in that game. The Caps won 3-0 in Seattle. Ovi with his 22nd, now 20 away from Gretzky. And the Preds and the Sharks played a wild game as well. Remember, 7-5 the other night, 6-5 last night. All right, did you see the news about Gary? Bettman has let the NHL's Board of Governors know to start the process of finding his replacement. Bettman has not said when he's going to retire, but wants the plans in place for when he does. I got to tell you, this day's coming. He's 72, 73 years old now, I believe, Scotty. And Gary's been...
I'm hearing he's going to be hired as the head coach of the Dallas Cowboys at 72 years old. No, Bill Daly will be the next commissioner of the NHL. He has been his right-hand man for 30 years. Like, are you kidding me? Who else? Look for someone else. Bill Daly is the next commissioner. He deserves it. He's busted his ass for the league forever. It's his turn.
Yeah, I don't disagree with you. He's been with them a long time. Bill's 60. Let's say it's, what do you think? 2 years, 3 years more for Gary at the most? Bill's going to be 62 or 63 by then.
Next year, and then you'll have, Bill Daly will run it for 10, 12 years.
U.S. Patent Office rejected the Utah Hockey Club trying to copyright Yetis and Utah Yetis. Back to the drawing board.
That's the one I wanted.
Call them
the Yetis.
Call them the Hockey Club. Like, enough with the dopey names. Just call them the Hockey Club if you can't get the patent right. Honestly. All right, let's go. Actually, we'll start tonight in the leftovers. There's only 4 games. I'll never get even the first one in because the Islanders are at the Horse Track. A rare Friday night home game at the Horse Track. After they picked up Tony DeAngelo today, man, did that get a lot of people upset. Nobody likes Tony DeAngelo. He's going to be on the Islanders now. So that got people really upset.
Well, now you got to like him.
Second full year under new ownership to really be where they are right now for this Commanders franchise is one of the best stories of this NFL season.
Went to the playoffs and won 2 road games. Now we're going to use that. Hey, rookie quarterback on? No more rookie quarterback. He's already arrived in the NFL as a legitimate quarterback. And can you say, Ben, is he already top 5?
The Early Line. Only on SportsGrid.
He did nothing for 5 weeks. So he's becoming his brother. So I don't want to hear about how great T.J. Watt is with his 0 playoff wins. And he's the first guy to admit it. He comes right out and says, I've never won a playoff game. I don't matter. All right, at least we all know who the best player on the team is. It's George Pickens. If you don't believe that, well, then screw you, too.
Ferrall, Coast to Coast. Only on SportsGrid.
We'll see if they get McCain back. Kelly Oubre, Yabusele's been good. Caleb Martin's a defensive specialist. Andre Drummond can still give you, almost a double-double at any point. I can't go south on this team. And now you're giving it to me at 2-1 to make the playoffs? To be in the Final 8? Folks, give me the Philadelphia 76ers to make the playoffs at plus 210.
Betting above the rim. Only on SportsGrid.
We all know MVPs don't win the Super Bowl. It's not about MVPs, man. The only MVP, fine. Win the MVP in the Super Bowl. Nobody cares about the MVP in the regular season besides people that bet on it, the actual player themselves, and their agent that's getting a cut of the bonus money. Other than that, who cares? What do you care who wins the MVP? Like I said, unless you bet on it. Right? If you bet on it, fine. Then I guess you care.
Sports Rage tonight. Only on SportsGrid.
Carver High, a gamer this week with the conditions. He had, 103, the cold, the cough, the nose, the running, just the drip, post-nasal, kids screaming under just tremendous strain. And yet, once again, he pulled through in the clutch. And I think he did it with the help of leftovers.
Certainly did. Let's go here. We start at the horse track tonight. The Flyers and the Islanders. Islanders minus $1.50 now from earlier today, plus 120 for the Flyers, and a 5.5. Remember, Flyers beat them there last week, same place.
I mean, honestly, can they win a game at the horse track?
You can't lay $1.50 with the Islanders. You can't lay $1.50 with the Islanders. Just can't.
Well, I'm gonna.
Can't do it.
They got to win a game at home for once in their effing life. I mean, honestly, are you kidding? The fans, they don't even go to the games anymore. Win a game.
Well, it's Friday night. They should get loaded up, you'd think, tonight and head over to the horse track. What else is there to do around here? Vegas, after the win in St. Louis last night, is in Dallas tonight. Dallas minus $1.45. Vegas plus 125 and a 5.5.
I got to go Dallas on home ice. They're dangerous. I like the Knights, but they played last night. And to play a team that good the next night, playing the Blues is one thing. Playing Dallas is another nightmare.
Tampa is in Chicago against the Blackhawks. Tampa, heavy lumber of the night here. Minus 240 now. Plus 2 bills for the Hawks and a 6.5.
Give me the Hawks and a goal and a half at minus $1.25 and a West Side story at the United Center.
Utah with a great win in Minnesota last night. Now they're in Ferrallapeg tonight. Jets minus 210. Utah plus 170 and a 5.5.
Yeah, last night it was glory. Tonight it's a sucker punch in the throat. I'll go puck line Jets. Minus a goal and a half at plus 115. And I went 10-1 last night with 2 puck lines.
10-1.
Have a sandwich.
Here we go. Let's get the rest of this in. Toronto is advancing in their talks with Pete Alonso. The Mets are going to lose Pete Alonso for a couple $1 million because Stearns doesn't want him. I mean, that's pretty much
not just say to Bob Nightingale, why doesn't he just go play for the Blue Jays? They've been trying to score players for 5 years and they haven't got anybody.
Yeah.
But Santander. Sign Pete Alonso. What are you doing?
That would be some lineup to mash. Vlad, Santander, Alonso. A lot of homers to try to navigate in that lineup. Astros re-engage in talks with Alex Bregman. When is he going to sign somewhere? The Genesis is officially moving to Torrey Pines. We knew that. Ohio State running back Quinshon Judkins declares for the NFL draft. He had the 3 tutties in the championship game. Week 1, I'll do this with you next week, that full week 1 college football slate. But Notre Dame, Miami will be the Sunday night game of Labor Day weekend. And North Carolina, TCU will be the primetime Labor Day night game. That's Belichick's first game as their head coach in Chapel Hill. Djokovic retired after the first set due to a torn muscle in his left leg against Zverev. And Alexander Zverev will now face Sinner in the final of the Aussies this weekend.
The guy that's allowed to do drugs and keep playing.
Nikki Bella in talks with the WWE for potential in-ring return.
I want to have sex with the Bella twins. Hey now.
And Kobe Bryant's Achilles game Nikes are going on the auction block. They could grab more than $600,000 for the Achilles game.
Honestly, I love my Kobe's, all of them. I have so many pairs of Kobe's. They're the greatest basketball shoes ever made. Kobe, until my Jaws came along. The Jaws have now surpassed the Kobe's, clearly, in the changing of the guard. Ferrall finished. Jabril Peppers pleads guilty to cocaine possession prior to the domestic violence trial, but he got off on the domestic violence charges. So who cares if he had a little blow on him? All those charges, acquitted on choking and strangling a chick. Unbelievable. Man's unit gets stuck to the ice, the sidewalk, during a drunk fight in Ferrall, Alberta. My man had the Christmas, what's the kid with the tongue on the pole in the Christmas Story? And then this guy gets in a fist fight outside the bar in Ferrall, Alberta, probably Cowboys in Calgary. Ends up on the sidewalk. Tongue and his package stuck to the sidewalk when his pants were pulled down. GTD is next with the mayor of Miami. Get my app, search Ferrall. Everything will be good from there. We'll see you Monday on Coast to Coast.
February 25th is a huge day at Gulfstream Park. It is Pegasus Cup Day. We're going to have a preview show. First Bet presents the DRF handicapping show for Pegasus World Cup. Alexa, tell us more.
Yep, Friday, January 24th. Make sure to tune in on SportsGrid TV from 2 to 3 p.m. to see the show. If you miss it then, don't worry. It airs again on Saturday at 11 a.m. We're going to talk about all the major contenders in the Pegasus Cup.
Special guests Bailey Armour, Samantha Perry, and Randy Moss will join us. Don't miss it.
He did nothing for 5 weeks. So he is becoming his brother. So I don't want to hear about how great TJ Watt is with his 0 playoff wins. And he's the first guy to admit it. He comes right out and says, I've never won a playoff game. I don't matter. All right, at least we all know who the best player on the team is. It's George Pickens. If you don't believe that, well, then screw you, too.
Ferrall, Coast to Coast. Only on SportsGrid. The Bostonian versus the Book.
Real momentum on Deion Sanders becoming the head coach of the Dallas Cowboys.
I heard that this morning.
And Dallas is interested in the idea. Deion is interested in the idea, and there is equal interest in moving up to get Shedeur Sanders to be the quarterback for the Dallas Cowboys under Deion.
Be a hell of a reality show.
The Bostonian versus the Book.
We all know MVPs don't win the Super Bowl. It's not about MVPs, man. The only MVP, fine. Win the MVP in the Super Bowl. Nobody cares about the MVP in the regular season besides people that bet on it, the actual player themselves, and their agent that's getting a cut of the bonus money. Other than that, who cares? What do you care who wins the MVP? Like I said, unless you bet on it. Right? If you bet on it, fine. Then I guess you care.
Sports Rage tonight. Only on SportsGrid.